My name is Ramesh Singh, also known as Rams. My gamer tag is R2K. You know, as most people are doing esports, you have a gamer tag. I'm sure I'll learn about a few of yours sooner or later. And of course, this is a talk about, it's not a talk with slides, it's more about photos and about history. How esports generally changed my life, yeah? And how it can change others as well. Now, I started back, everyone's played games when they were younger. You know, you've played games, you must have a favorite game when you were younger. I started back with a few of the games, but one game that got me interested in being competitive was a game called GoldenEye. Anybody remember GoldenEye? GoldenEye, yeah, so GoldenEye on the N64. This game, it sort of was one of the first FPS games on a Nintendo 64. And we used to play it in the youth club. We used to play it in school, play it so much. And we used to have little tournaments, little internal tournaments against classes. And this was sort of like our mini esports. We didn't know it was esports then, but we had that time of, you know, playing games together. And I was like one of the top dogs, so to speak. And I felt I had something. I felt something in me, I had something. And I kept playing, It was until 98, 99 till I got my first PC, and then a game that certainly got my eye was a game called Quake 3 Arena. Quake 3 Arena it was started as Quake 3 Test, and then got into it so much, played it to death. Now, around this time I was 13 and 14. 13, 14, no, this is 19 years ago for me. So playing those games, you know, I was so addicted. And you've probably had a game yourself where you're so addicted, you've probably played for 4, 5, 6 hours. You don't know where the day has gone at all. Yeah? That was my game. I played it for so long. And yeah, and doing that, I played it for so long. And when Quake 3 came out in Christmas 99, that's when I started my competitive career. At the same time as having that, I played so much, there was a downside to it. I was still in school. And the downside of it is that I neglected most of my studies, doing that as well. Coming into GCSE year, I was still on top of my game. I was playing, it was about 2001, I was on top of my form. I was playing against the best players around Europe at the time. And this was a time when we had NTL, we had Blue Yonder cable. This is the first time that we had blue broadband in the UK, whereas Sweden and America all had that. Kept playing. And then, yeah, I got my GCSEs back. They weren't the best. My highest grade was a C in music, PE, and arts. I got D's and E's in English and maths. D's and E's in English and maths. I didn't know how that was going to affect me. I really didn't know how it was going to affect me, but I'll come on to that in a bit. But saying that, we had a lot of tournaments coming on as well, coming up. A lot of tournaments are coming up to events, especially this one I'm going to describe here. This one. And you might know a few faces as well. You might know a certain face. I'll tell you. This guy here is Sam Matthews. Sam Matthews is the CEO of Fnatic, Team Fnatic. And he started off where I was as well, back in Quake 3. And we both played games. We both played Quake. A lot of the organizations you see, Fnatic, Team Dinctors, Evil Geniuses, they were all people who started off playing Quake 3. Okay, so we started off. This was one of the events that was in a gym. This was a gym. This was not like the halls this is not like the sports arenas that you see nowadays. This was like a gym, you know, a small gym where a lot of people brought their own computers, own networks, and played games and played in little competitions. This was one of them. This was in Coventry in Tile Hill. And it was one of my sort of first experiences with a team. Also playing Quake 3 in a team and being, you know, having that team building and having a laugh. I found new friends. I'm still friends with most of these as well today. But going through 2001, 2002, I kept playing Quake. But then I found out that's where my exams, that's where my grades hit me. I couldn't find a job. I couldn't find anything. At a time where my thoughts were starting to go so well down. I couldn't find jobs, couldn't find any sort of activity. Gaming was becoming such a chore for me. I wanted to kill myself in 2002 because I had no options. I didn't realize that not getting the grades that I needed in school would put me in a downward turmoil. And I was this close. I wouldn't be standing here. I was this close. If it wasn't for this chap, this guy with a grin on his face here, known as Darby, I talked to him for 6 hours overnight and had a great chat about it. Told him, I opened up about my suicidal tendency at the time. And he helped me. He helped me a lot. And without him, I wouldn't be here today, to be fair. I just wouldn't be here. But saying that, because of his words, he spurred me on. I managed to become national champion in Quake. I managed to become a European champion in Quake. As we go on to the next one. This is in Holland. This is known as Drome 11. This was one of the big stages. This was an actual arena itself where you played CS, you played Quake, you played Command & Conquer, Red Alert at the time. There's so many of the old school games that you're playing. And this was it, yeah? And these are some of my teammates, and some of them I think still playing today as well in Quake Champions. But, I was 18, 19, and as an 18, 19-year-old, you win something, you win your big first tournaments, and what do? You go out and sort of celebrate, don't you? Well, I think I celebrated a bit too much, to be fair. I did celebrate a bit too much, and I was this was afterwards. Yeah, I was at a friend's house. Keynote: don't drink gin by itself. That's what happens there. Okay. Apparently I was talking and then I just dropped. I was talking something and gone. But yeah, so that was my first celebrity sort of win, being a European champion. That's what got me. That's what put me on my floor, put me on my ground, saying I am the best. I am the best in Europe, one of the best. So going from that, though, into 2005, 2006, it was a bit of a lull until, and I did sort of skip over it, but I did meet a general manager. Well, he's general manager now of Team Dignitors, known as Odie. I met him back in 2003, but I've been playing with him since 2001. So 19 years, literally, I've been playing with Odie, who now is general manager of Team Dignitors. He was one of my idols. He was one of my mentors. And in 2006, I rejoined him into this team, known as Team Dignitors, as you know today. So Team Dignitors, and without them, I tell you what, without them, again, it's another one, I wouldn't be confident in speaking with you guys here. I'd probably be terrified right now. If I didn't have this opportunity at Team Dignitors, I'd probably be terrified right now. I'd be quaking in my boots. But with them, I got to do so many events. I got to go to Poland, I got to go to Germany, I got to go to many places that you would never normally do as a normal person, But in esports, this is the sort of thing that you get. This is the sort of attractions that you get, is that if you get into an esports team, you get to travel around the world and do things that you're never usually going to do, yeah? So one of the things I like to say, I'm speaking of Poland, I went to one of our sponsors known as Alienware at the time. And we did a few things, and now, I don't know how you see esports people. I mean, you have to tell me as well when you ask me a few questions and, get to know a bit about you. How do you see esports people? Do you see them as elitists? Do you see them as, do you see them as non-talkative? That's the sort of thing I want to sort of gain, because to be fair, esports people do try to have fun, but in the eyes of cameras, and especially with social media today, if there's anything that looks a bit awkward in social media, everybody's straight on it, and then they will say a comment and it all looks bad and it just goes into turmoil, yeah? So one I would like to reiterate, I was in Poland once. I actually fell asleep, okay? And this is what my teammates did to me. Yeah, I was literally asleep, and apparently I turned up as one of the Star Wars characters. I keep forgetting his name, but Jar Jar Binks, there you go, thank you. But yeah, that's what happens when you have funny teammates. That's when you have teammates, that's when you have a family, and so to speak, and they put me in that. But saying that, along with events as well, and some of the jobs as well that, George was saying in the previous one, if he was here, is about team coaching, team managing. This is an event in Coventry. This was the I-Series, Insomnia, gaming events as it's known as, I-Series. This was about I-32, so we're looking about 10 years ago. This was one of the CS tournaments for the World Cyber Games, where I don't really know about CS. Don't get me wrong, I'm a gamer, but I don't CS is not my forte, Quake is. But here's the thing. These guys know how to play the game, but they don't know how to act. They don't know what happens if they lose a round. They don't know what happens if something has gone really bad. That's where I come in, psychologically and mentally for them and that's what you need in esports as well, is not just the game instincts, but the psychological side of things. What do you do if you lose? I'm sure some of you here have had the games that are so close, you've lost it, you've probably broken a peripheral or probably broken something. Maybe slammed some glasses off the floor and it's shattered everywhere. You've probably had that instance. It happens to players. It really happens to players. But being there mentally as well for them, it helped them win. It helped them focus on their game rather than what happens on the outside. And that's what I was being there as well. Yep, and as well. But not only as a coach as well, I did play. I was with some of the players. Of course, Dogbert in the middle with the sombrero hat. I always called him El Dogberto. He's actually working in Creative Assembly now. He's actually one of the community managers of Creative Assembly who does Total War. He's doing all the, I think there's a new Total War coming out. I think it's 3 Kingdoms. He's worked on that. He's working on that. So from being a gamer, he's worked on that. Flickster next to me, he does a lot of creative stuff on Twitch as well. So he creates stuff. He used to do drag racing, real drag racing, so drift racing. So in cars, drift racing. Zachabus, if you've watched Twitch recently, he does a lot of Fortnite. He wears a suit. So I don't know why he wears a suit, but he wears a suit anyway. But all those players that I've had that in as well, those players, especially Dogbert as well, he's dyslexic as well. So he's not let anything held back. Even though he's dyslexic, he's not held back. He's gone to work at Creative Assembly. Yeah? So regardless of where you go. But with esports, it opens up so much more. It literally does, because you get to work in an environment where you're working as a coach or a player or just organizing things. Those sort of skills that you have in an esports team will help you in other jobs. You just don't know it. You think that it's just gaming sometimes. I thought it was just gaming. When I got to the point where, when I got to the point of doing it, I expanded from playing a game. I expanded from being a coach. I expanded into shoutcasting. I expected to be a caster. And I casted a game there, Trackmania, which is still popular these days. I casted. I do commentary now as well, which I'll get on to a bit more in a bit as well, but I casted as well. So all these skills from being in an esport team, whether you're coaching, whether you're managing, whether you're casting, it all comes from esports teams. And it's good to be in these sort of environments, right? So a few more. I looked a bit angry there. I don't know why. The camera always seems to get me in an angry mood there. But I was working with, I don't know if you know of a cast from League of Legends, Stress, if you play. Many of you play League of Legends? Any? Yeah, League of Legends, yeah. Dota, yeah. CS? Yeah, CS. Overwatch? Ooh, good, yeah. So you might know him. He's Stress from League of Legends. He's now a freelancer himself, but I've worked with him as well. He was in Team Dig. But a lot of the funny thing is, a lot of the people that you see in some of the gaming teams, they do go on. They do go on to have better careers as well. So that's what I love about esports, is that even if you get into a team, it helps you in your careers. Whether you're a writer, if you like writing, it will help you out because you're writing about the team, you're writing about where you go. I tell you what, there's so much. It's like a spider, basically. It can go from one to the other. It's such a diverse thing. And like when George was saying, it's unifying it as well. And in esports teams, it does unify. Also into casting, my casting got better. Anybody know his guys? Anybody know? Known as Joe Miller from ESL. He's known as Dusty Joe, but he now is one of the heads of ESL in terms of talent development. Started as a caster, and now is running the talent development, yeah? So from just normal casting, from playing games into casting, is now part of one of the main factors of ESL, yeah? He's also doing some FIFA casting as well over the weekend, but he does that on his off time. But yeah, going from a player into casting into a head of role. That's esports there for you as well. Anybody know this guy? You should know him. Red Eye, yeah, exactly. Red Eye, yeah. Paul Schaller One of my mentors as well. He's currently doing the ESL Hamburg Dota 2 tournament right now in Germany, but also is the international host. Again, from playing computer games into hosting, into casting. Now, one of my mentors in Code Red, again, another esports thing, another place where, you wouldn't expect. You thought you would have to go through a traditional role of going to be a caster or commentator. Esports opens it all for you. You know this guy in the end. You should know him, Odie. Michael O'Dell, he's general manager of Team Dingters. Without him, I wouldn't have not be where I am today. And I put that heart down, yeah? Despite what Darby said, despite what Darby did for me in terms of suicidal tendencies, without him, my doors would not be open to you guys. I would not be here speaking to you. I would not be here playing games. I would not be here in my job where I am now without him. So he's one of my biggest creators. But yeah, so those are some of the people. But yeah, trying to keep in time as best I can. All this led on. After 2016, Team Dingters were bought out by the Philadelphia 76ers. Big basketball team, big company. They were bought out. And I went to literally spread my wings, so to speak. I didn't join back with Team Dingters. I went and spread out my wings to learn a bit more because the skills that they needed, I didn't have. I literally didn't have. I couldn't learn them in Team Dingters. I had to go elsewhere. So for that, I had to go to other places. Jinx Esports TV, Jinx TV. Has anybody watched any of Jinx TV? Yeah? So these guys gave me the opportunity to do a show on there, on TV, live. 3 hours every week on a Sunday, 8 till 11. Casting, being a host for every game. That's hard. You have to know Dota, you have to know Overwatch, you have to CS, you have to know League of Legends, and you have to switch from every role in 2 minutes on TV. I didn't think I could do it, but I did. And having that role gave me so much more confidence in front of the camera and everything else, yeah? So my casting abilities, my commentary abilities was a help because of this, yeah? And, I'm grateful for that opportunity. Also doing that, has anyone been to Insomnia as well? Insomnia events, yeah? You might have seen me around. I'm always mostly in the expo working with Scan Computers. That's who I currently work for. Scan Computers, talking to many of you punters who go there. And if you haven't been to Insomnia events, you should go. Next one's in April, Easter, and hopefully I'll see you there because it's one of the best events that you should go to in terms of esports and stuff like that. Without Team Dignitors, without esports, I don't think I'd be speaking to people. I don't think I'd be standing up to people. I don't think, I'll be talking to the public about gaming. How many of you find it hard to talk to some friends who don't play games about gaming? Yeah. Honestly, it is hard. It's hard to do. But with stuff like this, trust me, nowadays as well, gaming, esports is mostly talked about. It's bigger than movies. It's bigger than video. It's bigger than like TV and stuff like that. It's a lot popular as well these days. And a lot of companies on the outside, as you saw from George again, I'll refer back to it. Buffalo Wild Wings, Mountain Dew, Red Bull, they're all coming in. These are all non-gaming companies who are coming in, and they're trying to catch you guys, because most of you probably don't drink their items, probably don't watch the sports that they do. Basketball, football. This is your thing. Gaming is your thing, yeah. And that's where they're coming in. It's a big business. Esports is a big thing. Should esports as well be considered a sport? No, I don't think it should be. Esports is a massive thing without being considered a sport. It's bigger. That's why all the companies are coming for you guys. These are why the companies are coming for esports, because it's much bigger than their traditional sports. That's why they're panicking. That's why they want to come in. You see Geico coming in. Geico is an insurance company. You see Turtle Wax. Turtle Wax is a car, it's something for cars. Why are they coming into it? They see the problem. They see you guys, you're the youngsters. You are the ones that they're after. But they can't get you because you're in a different element, which is esports. They can't get you because you don't watch traditional sports, yeah? So, that being said, with esports, it doesn't matter whether you're young, doesn't matter whether you're young, or you're old. I had this chap come up to me, 70 years old, 70 plus, talking to me about esports, talking to me about gaming. He loves games. He loves playing games with his children and his grandchildren. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how old you are in this day or age of industry of esports. Everybody's welcome. It doesn't matter if you're a boy. It doesn't matter if you're a girl. It doesn't matter if you're that LGBTQ, whatever. It doesn't matter. Esports is open to everybody. Funny thing was, in the team that I played for as well, in Team Dingsters, there was a few girls in there, and they actually beat me. They actually beat me quite a lot. A lot of girls beat me. Did I care that they were a girl? No, I didn't care. The reason being is because they've got skill. They built up from the ground to where they were. They built up there. And it doesn't matter if you're, I know there's a few ladies here. It doesn't matter, if you feel pressured by, playing games and stuff like that, you shouldn't feel pressured. You should, actions speak louder than words. If your actions speak louder than words. If your skill is better than theirs, that's what it has to be. Yeah. If you have a better work ethic, great. Because again, in an industry like esports, we need women because everybody has a brain. Doesn't matter if you're a man or woman, doesn't matter. Everyone has a brain, everyone has ideas, and it's creative. So with women as well, whether you're young, old, man, woman, boy, girl, whatever, don't matter. Everybody is welcome to esports as it is with this chap here. I think he could give me a run for my money as well, to be fair. And of course, coming towards the end of it as well is the future. It's the future for you guys. Now, I was super impressed when I came here not last year, but it was March time, when Stafford held the Staffordshire qualifiers for the Digital Schoolhouse. I was amazed. I was blown by it, and I loved it. I loved it. This here is the future, but for yourselves as well, the future is the university stuff as well. NULE, N-U-L-E, National Youth University Esports League, and the other one that's come up, there's another one that's come up. Huh? NSC, that's the one, thank you. Yeah, NSC as well. All built around for you guys. You guys who love games, you guys who love playing games. This is the sort of stuff I want to see. Because whether you think it or not, yeah, you guys are the future. You're the guys that are going to be, you might be the next one here speaking. You might be the next one that is going to be running an area like Gfinity. You might be the one that's going to be running an area like the Stafford Esports Hub. Yeah? This is the future. And when I look at you guys, I see the future. I literally do see the future. I'm not going to be here forever. I need people who are going to be, you need people who are going to be work ethic, and that is all of you. You guys got the work ethic. You're the ones that are here at university, willing to go this far, willing to go. And you'll then, when you guys are done and graduate from uni, you'll be inspiring these lot as well. You'll be inspiring the next generation. So as I try to hopefully inspire you guys, you will be inspiring them. And that's what I hope in terms of esports. Now, with that all being said and done, I've got a few minutes, I'm going to show you a bit of history as well. Okay? So, as I said, not many games were recorded, but this game was recorded 12 years ago. Okay? 12 years ago, there were two massive teams in the UK. One of them being Team Dingsters, the other one being Four Kings. Anyone remember Four Kings or heard the name Four Kings? This was like 2000. They were around 2000. This was a game that I played in. I played with some of the best people. Too Good. If anyone's heard of Too Good, he's now currently developing a game called Diabotical, but he was also the host of the International. DDK, he was also a teammate of mine, but he's also in ECS. So he's also doing the Face It stuff right now, commentating CSGO with James Bardolph and a few others as well. I played with these guys 12 years ago in this game. So I'm going to paint the scene before I go, and hopefully it's been, of course, if there's any questions. Actually, is there any questions? I'll open it up now. Is there any questions before I play this? About esports or anything?
How would someone get into it? That comes across my mind.
Yeah, how would someone get into it? Easy enough. So, you see a lot of the times that it's advertised. The way I got into it was I just got played games and played by scouting. But if you're not just playing games, you want to do something, it's better to look up some of the jobs, look up some of the companies that are working now. ESL, Gfinity, yeah, these sort of companies. Esports News UK, yeah, if you like writing as well. Look, are you looking in terms of writing or what sort of jobs? Is it general jobs?
Oh, I'm an animator.
You're an animator? Yeah. So with animating, like I said, one of my friends, Dogbert, yeah, he's gone to Creative Assembly through Esports. He just had a chat with him. Like he says, CVs are not, because I speak to someone, CVs are not usually the case. Portfolios. Anything that you've got, any sort of work that you do, whether it's animation, whether it's writing, whether it's movies or anything like that, have a portfolio of them. So, something that showcase, yeah? A lot of the times, nobody's going to read a CV, especially in esports anyway. Nobody's going to read a CV. Everybody wants to see what your ability is, whether it's casting, movie making, writing, you name it. They want to see it rather than look at a piece of paper, okay? And that's how the industry is changing. They'll rather look at the person, they'll rather look at you rather than a piece of paper. That's how it's changing, yeah? But yeah, you can look on some certain job sites if you want. So just look at teams. Look at teams, esports teams that are advertising. You know, whether they're looking for writers, content creators, videos, social media, animation type picks as well. Everyone loves GIFs, everyone loves memes. You know, a lot of teams do a lot of memeing as well. So there's all sorts of good. It's to look around, yeah? It's to look around. I started off as a player. I just played and I got scouted. Like Sunday League football. That's how I started. But nowadays, there's more options. So go looking on our websites, go looking at actual esports teams, look at their jobs. They have a little job column, careers, about us, careers, what you can do for us, what we can do for you. And just that way. Anything else? Yes. Yes, sir. Oh, go on. Yeah, go on.
How would you say, like, getting into general management, like the teams, what would be the best way to try and get into that area?
Best way is to experience it yourself. So if you're trying to get in general management, be like a player first. See what you have to, entertain it, be like a player, yeah? So for me, I was the player. I did what I thought was best, and then I took that knowledge onto that as management, and I managed a few people, and it worked, you know. I had a few teams that won several titles just because of my management, because of looking in their point of view. Basically, go through their footsteps, you know, as a player, and then take that as a player, what you learned, and use it as management. So that's the best way. Just start off as a player, slowly, learn what you think is best and what's not, then take that and then add it. Yes, sir.
In the current lineup teams in CS and
Yeah.
Dota, what would you say is the strongest one going at the moment?
It's very hard because with CS, it seems to change a lot. I know Australis is one of the big ones right now, and they've just qualified for ECS in LA. But that skill level, that's the thing. The skill level, anyone, on any given day, any of those teams can win, especially with Dota as well. You know, on any given day. And a lot of people said EG in the international was going to be the top, but they didn't. They didn't come out, did they? So it's on any given day. It really is on any given day because they're all that close together. Yeah. Yes.
So say like you wanted to get into casting, but myself, I'm not very confident at all. What would you say is like the best way to get into it?
Best way to do it is to experiment with yourself. So, say if you went onto YouTube, you saw a game, and you just spoke over it. You just spoke over it. Or if there is a game, there are little mini tournaments around these days, or looking for casters, looking for someone to stream. If you went up to them and says, "Can I stream your game?" and then you just do a little cast, you know, those little things. If you don't, those little things will help you out. Yeah. So yeah, if you go onto YouTube, like I said, and then cast one of those just by yourself, yeah, or then record it and then give it to someone else to review it, yeah. That will help you out. That will build up a bit more confidence, and have somebody else feed back to you what they think, and then they can help you out. And bit by bit, it will build your confidence more and more. Like I said, I wouldn't be here. Sometimes I'm still scared. I even said it to Bobby here. I'm still scared coming up here. But once I get into that sort of thinking, and that confident mood, that you'll find eventually, it will come together. But yeah, so for yourself, find a game, find something to talk over it, record yourself, give it to someone to feedback on, let them help you out a bit, see what you need working on, and keep building. We, as casters, we're always going to be wrong as well. Because sometimes we're going to be right, sometimes we're going to be wrong. Casting's just like that. Yeah, you're either going to be right, or you're going to be wrong. It's going to happen. Yeah. Anybody else? Yes.
Sorry, I came in halfway through. Is it Quake that you say you started with?
Quake 3, yeah.
So, do you think there's still a place for that kind of skill-based, arena-based shooting, or do you think the likes of Overwatch and more sort of power-up and level-based players are going to dominate?
There is a place for it, to be fair, because there is an other game. The only problem is the publishers and the developers trying to push it. That's the biggest problem. With Overwatch, you've got Blizzard. Blizzard are massive. You know, they've got a plethora of games, you know, with Warcraft, and you see how they built it into an esports, with StarCraft, and you know how Korean dominated that is. Overwatch, you know, they put the money in. Now we've got the Overwatch League and loads more teams coming in. It depends on the publisher and the developer, and it also depends on the tournament organisers as well, I would say. You know, Quake Champions, which is free to play right now, you know, if you have a chance, go download it, go try it out. That does have a place, but it depends on those elements. Tournament organisers, publishers and the developers to actually go, yes, we want to pump in money for this game. There are a few tournaments for it right now. I mean, PGL did one, and ESL, and QuakeCon, but they're not as big as probably Blizzard or Valve right now, because they're just dominating the market. So there is a place, but it depends on the developers and the publishers and the tournament organisers. So, anybody else? Yeah, one more.
What's your opinion on the Overwatch League and how Blizzard's running it with the rulebook? Well, the supposed rulebook that was leaked for us a while ago.
I think they're great. I think the Overwatch League is a great thing, and it brings in. Again, it opens up esports. It opens up esports to everybody. Like a lot of parents who have kids who love Overwatch. It brings parents and children together. You know, they go to the Overwatch arena. They get to watch it together. They get to celebrate the best players that are there. I think it's really well. What was the last bit on that question?
Is that because apparently the rulebook for the players was leaked
Yes.
a while ago?
Yes.
And I forgot which player it was, but one of them apparently got reprimanded for not wearing shoes at the event
Yeah.
on a carpeted floor.
Yeah, I think it's Blizzard. That's Blizzard being Blizzard. Sometimes they want to really control it over, you know. And I think a lot of the teams as well. It's funny when you see a lot of the tweets from the Overwatch team accounts. It's actually Blizzard that's actually given them that because they don't want them to wreck it, sort of thing. Yeah, any sort of official. It's always coming from Blizzard. So Blizzard have a massive control over it. But I think we will see. I think they're controlling it for now, so they can get it right. And once they get it right, then they can let sort of freedom of control over it. Okay, right. So I think yes, slightly over time. Do I have time quickly?
It's refreshment time. So as long as you guys are happy
All right,
staying.
5 minutes. All I ask is for 5 minutes. Okay, so I'll paint the picture. Yeah, this is one of the grand finals. Yeah, I will. Don't worry, I need to get the right time. There you go, before you see it. Okay, is that the right time? Okay, all right, so I'm going to pull it over very shortly, yeah? So, this is one of the final matches. 12 years ago, this was Team Dictors versus Four Kings. This was in a gym. This is literally in a gym. This is not a big arena. We had the casters Red Eye and Tosspot, okay, for this. Hopefully the volume is okay as well, so... hopefully you'll hear it and everything. It's up loud on YouTube, okay? 90 seconds left. 90 seconds left. We were 10 kills behind, okay? To paint the picture, Team Dictors, I was playing, 10 kills behind, 90 seconds. Do you think it's doable or not, okay? That is the question, yeah? That is the question, okay? So I'm going to pull... It's hard, but... All right. Let's see if I can get this right. You can see the graphics as well. It hasn't changed too much. And this is Red Eye and Tosspot casting as well, so I don't know if the volume... I'll stay quiet.
And here it is. This is the charge from Dictac right at the end of the game. 1 minute 15 remaining, and 11 francs is the difference. Can they pull other remarkable out of the bag? It would be an amazing result if they could. But Paul and Juice combined, they take 4 francs in a row for Four Kings, and perhaps that's what they have just in the time.
Well, what a shocking quad round. I mean,
Four Kings aren't going to go into the red room when it's obvious someone's got quad. The first person would have called it. Why sit there waiting for red? I mean, it's just not going to happen. Go find it, because Four Kings are obviously going to hide the hell. Oh, red come up just now. I mean, it was a, small error there to make that mistake, but Four Kings capitalized on that, and it's there 168, 175. The lead is still too much, but let's see. We go a couple of reply, Flurry, R2K, Storm, Flurry, 5 quick frags coming up for the difference. Stuber getting back in it, Storm going down, 27 seconds, 5 frags, and here we go. These are being hounded down by Flurry's rail. Teammate. Oh, high from Flurry, and with 4 frags in it, they still believe. Do they have what it takes? 4 frags to the crown champion. Oh, it's 2 Brady, 4 quick 50, both going down, 12 seconds left in it. Flurry gonna quick 50, gonna try to do something to Flurry, but Flurry lets it up. R2K goes in, the score set over with 4 frags in it. 4 kicks a lead for 4 kicks with a frag of DDK. 2, 1, it is
Very intense.
Split second kill at the end to save it into overtime. But yeah, that was 5 minutes over 5 minutes. Yeah, so we had 5 minutes more to try and conquer the Four Kings. Yeah. Now, did you think it would have ever ended there?
No.
So
Are you playing more, obviously?
yeah, I'm playing it there, but this is why I like esports. This is generally why I like esports, because of games that give you. My heart was pounding.
My heart's pounding for you.
And look at the scores as well and time.
Oh my god.
And that's red eye for you as well, being hit red eye. But yeah, I'll end it there. But yeah, this is why I like esports, because it is competitive. You get games like this, whether it's Quake, whether it's CS, whether it's Dota, League of Legends, Overwatch, any game that you play. This is why I love esports, and this is how esports changed my life. Thank you very much.